Okay, so I'm going to try live stream, or excuse me, try live stream, or excuse me, try live stream, or excuse me. Okay, I'm just setting up the stream. Give me a second. Okay, I'm just setting up the stream. Give me a second. Okay, I'm just setting up the stream. Give me a second. Okay, so let's try that now. We are currently near the lows of the session. Okay, so let's try that now. We are currently near the lows of the session. Okay, so let's try that now. We are currently near the lows of the session. Okay, so markets are moving higher off of these lows. Keep an eye on money flow and stochastics. We started talking about the IBD 50 and then ticker.tv crapped out. Keep an eye on money flow and stochastics. We started talking about the IBD 50 and then ticker.tv crapped out. Keep an eye on money flow and stochastics. We started talking about the IBD 50 and then ticker.tv crapped out. Okay, let me get my... I'm not sure why that happened. Okay, let me get my... I'm not sure why that happened. Just click on the live link up ahead, up on top. Just click on the live link up ahead, up on top. Okay, now things are starting to pick up. All right, so I'm watching the stream on my laptop, just monitoring. Okay, now things are starting to pick up. All right, so I'm watching the stream on my laptop, just monitoring. Okay, now things are starting to pick up. All right, so I'm watching the stream on my laptop, just monitoring. I'm not sure why I am echoing. Let me check my settings. I'm not That's sure probably the deal. Why I am echoing. Let me check my settings. I'm not That's sure probably the deal. I am echoing. Let me check my settings. That's probably the deal. All right, so markets are holding at the lows. We'll just go through the IBD 50. All right, so markets are holding at the lows. We'll just go through the IBD 50. All right, so markets are holding at the lows. We'll just go through the IBD 50. Oh, that's really annoying. Oh, that's really annoying. Oh, that's really annoying. All right, let's watch this. It could be a bear flag. I'm just going through my settings, trying to reset so that I don't get this echo. All right, let's watch this. It could be a bear flag. I'm just going through my settings, trying to reset so that I don't get this echo. All right, let's watch this. It could be a bear flag. No, it's not that. Trying to reset so that I don't get this echo. No, it's not that. All right, I'm not sure what these settings, something's wrong with live, YouTube Live. I keep hearing an echo. All right, so it's invariably something on my end. Settings, something's wrong with live, YouTube Live. I keep hearing an echo. So it's invariably something on my end. Settings, something's wrong with live, YouTube Live. I keep hearing an echo. So it's invariably something on my end. Okay, it's not that. Markets are moving higher. I'm going to try to fix this echo that I keep hearing on my end. Okay, I'm just checking a few things here. Okay, I think it's because I'm using the same YouTube user ID to monitor as I am broadcasting, so that could be my issue. Hold on a second. Okay, I think that seems to be it. All right, so we should be good now. I was using my YouTube ID that I normally post videos and so forth, my main account, rather than a separate YouTube account. So I was monitoring with the same feed that I was broadcasting. So that was the issue. Okay, so let's go get this out of the way. And we will go Nugget. I see that you guys were looking at this as a potential trade. SPY is starting to move higher. Let me just check my volume settings. Okay, SPY is moving higher. Looks like we're going to reverse off of this level. And we still have the 9 and the 20 EMA. This is a 3-minute chart, so we'll shift out to the 5-minute if we manage to get above the 9 and the 20. For now, NUGT is moving higher. CPE reversed a little bit. This is something we took yesterday. H-band is getting back to entry levels as well. WNC looks like we got a little profit taking as well with these three. All right, so let's continue looking at the IBD 50. Not expecting a whole lot today. This is a bear flag building on the 3-minute. All right, so you can see a little bit more readily on the 5-minute chart. Let's see what happens here. We have some wicks above these levels, so those levels need to be taken out. Otherwise, that's sellers and resistance at 229.05 up to 229.10. Money flow continues to drop. One thing about YouTube Live is that you can't use music in the background. It's a little annoying. I can't even play it if I wanted to listen to music. I'd have to monitor it in a separate set of headphones, which is annoying. Okay, Applied Materials is starting to move. Let me just pull up the watch list. SPY continues to press the 9 EMA. Okay, so Applied Materials reports on 216. SPY's making it back above the 9 and the 20. Let's look at our internals. Okay, up-down volume is still on the bearish side. It is 1-to-1 basically. Testing VWAP. Got a buy signal overhead. Confirmation if this pushes through the 20 EMA and VWAP, that buy signal confirmation will trigger, along with tick cumulative. Note that slow stow 144 is turning up. That's triggering right now, along with MACD crossing, RSI moving higher. So this is probably going to continue to the upside. Let's watch for a break above VWAP. Still testing VWAP. MACD's crossing, stow is still turning. Tick cumulative is turning. Really need to see this down volume dissipate and up volume pick up. It's Friday, so again, we're not expecting much. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay. All right, so tick cumulative turning back down. Don't get stuck in this just yet. We need to get through VWAP, and this needs to turn and cross to the upside. A little fake there with down volume still showing us bearish momentum or bearish net volume. Okay, so we're getting rejected at the 20 EMA. So 2 Cows was a stock that we looked at early in the week. Technically added it to the watch list. This is Friday's candle. We saw that Monday started off at 43.25 and continues to push higher in this ascending flag pattern. A lot of strength, a lot of volume. It only trades, well, right now it's only traded 20,600 shares, so be aware of that. So this could reverse very quickly on low volume. It's a very risky proposition. But some of the other names in the group with TCX as ranked by IBD were Amazon, Baba, Live, Meli, MELI, and STMP. So let's look at some of these. Back to the 9 EMA. Meli flagging out. That is more than likely going to push higher. So a buy stop above this 183, 184 level is probably going to trigger. RSI is overbought, so that is a caveat, and Stow is turning along with MACD. So maybe we wait a couple of days and see if this doesn't pull back to right around 180 and then bounce with everything else resetting. Amazon looking good. Facebook, MACD, price still being rejected at the VWAP. Looks like some profit taking this morning on Facebook. Earnings next week. Like we said, there's not a whole lot going on today. The banks starting to see a little bit of profit taking in those towards the end of the week. Bank of the Ozarks, that was a nice breakout on Tuesday, continued through the week. BPFH, that's seeing some profit taking into the week as well. Looks like traders are taking off early. AVGO outside the upper Bollinger Bands. SPY is moving lower. CPE got this volume by price band and some resistance right in here. Needs to get through that. Stay above the 9 and 20 EMA. Otherwise, we'll get stopped out. MACD's crossing. Like to see volume increase and get back to the highs of the session. So it's traded near 1 million shares so far today. And we'll come back and check that out later. Charles Schwab continues. That's been on the watch list for several weeks. That just continues to grind higher. Okay, this flag is breaking to the downside. So 227.75 is the first target. If we lose S1, then we'd look for another bear flag after this one. Let's just pull this over here so you can see what I'm talking about. Still hanging out. The moving averages are starting to flatten. And with SPY, market internals slightly bearish, more so than bullish. We're still seeing some chop. 1.64 to 1, holding at S2. Okay, so you guys are looking at Netflix. So the daily, you can see the 227 breakout. Pull back to breakouts conceivable. For now, we're holding the lows of the session, building a flag. So Netflix was lower over the past couple of sessions, and now we're breaking higher. I might take some Netflix here. Okay, Netflix moves sideways, not too far from its pivot levels. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. Okay, so we're about 75 cents above the breakout level right here, 141. Let's we're gonna buy some Netflix. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna buy some Netflix if we can hopefully get a better entry. Don't want to chase this. It's only about 75 cents above. All right, so looks like it's gonna try to pull back. So let's try to get a better entry on Netflix. If it consolidates below this 141.21, 141.39 level, we got a 141.48 over here on the 15. So you can see what we're looking at. This is probably going to break higher. Let's bring this down. Okay, it's trying to break higher now. If you're interested in taking Netflix, you got to stop if it breaks down back into this pattern. I like it from here. Okay, watching Netflix. Okay, let's see how this plays out. See if we can get a better entry. With SPY hanging out right at these lows. All right, so there's a little bit of trepidation here with traders. A little reluctant on this breakout. Let's watch and see what happens here with Netflix. If we break above this level, we could see a pretty quick move to the upside. The 5-minute. Would be nice to see a flag down to 140.80, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. MACD's continue to push higher. Okay, we got this bear flag. Looks like it's trying to break down, so that might give us a better entry on Netflix. Let's see. Really would like to see a pullback to 137, 138. 137.74 is the 9 EMA. Doesn't look like it's going to give us that chance as it did yesterday. Stow is embedded again on SPY. Okay. All right, there you go. There's your next pole. Your flag has broken. The 227 puts should be doing well. I don't have a position, but I know a couple of you have taken that position with price below the 9 and the 20 MA, a fair flag, and now this is pushing lower. 227.75 was the previous break level. That's $1 lower. All right, so this is pulling in a little bit. Maybe we get a better entry on Netflix. Between 10:30 and 11 o'clock is when we get the better entries. So let's look and see what we can get. Perhaps this will pull back. We don't have to jump into this as SPY continues to move lower. All right, let's look at NUGT. That might offer a scalp opportunity. It already showed interest this morning as it grinds higher. You get the 200 period moving average. We're going to probably take a position here. I'd like to get an entry at around 10. The 10 level on NUGT. Okay, so we're going to take a position in NUGT. Okay, so NUGT should continue. Bollinger Bands are expanding. We've got the 1032 level, 1035, the 200 period moving average. We're on a buy signal for the past, well, since the open actually. MACD's moving lower. Excuse me, SPY is moving lower. Okay, so we're building on NUGT. All right, so we got to fill at 10:09. And as soon as we get up here to around 10:30, we'll move our stops up to break even. I don't usually like to trade on Fridays, but gold seems to be a scalp, at least a reversal trade. As we saw earlier this morning, we're talking in the blog post, we're looking for a move to the downside. If it didn't hold these levels, it looks like we're going to hold just above the 50 period moving average on the daily. We're at the 9 and 20. As you can see, we did get a sell signal. If we get back up here at 1164, we got a buy signal confirmation. So this reversal, we'll watch for that to happen. We've got this volume by price pan support. So more than likely, this will move higher. Just watch RSI. It was trending lower. We're seeing a bounce now, and Stow is near oversold. So this is a iffy position right now, but we're seeing bullish volume coming in, so this could continue to push higher. Again, it's Friday. Don't usually like to trade Fridays. All right, so we're getting some entries down here at 10:05, 10:06. Let's see how this plays out. RSI is pretty near overbought on the 5-minute chart. Let's look at the 15-minute. Okay, so we're moving through the moving averages. They're all turning up. We had this downtrend on the 15-minute chart since the beginning of the week. On Tuesday, we peaked and dropped lower. We had a trade on Tuesday. Scalp got out of that trade, and then it reversed. So we're looking for a bottom. We're seeing that now. If this continues, draw a trend line through here. We're breaking that 3-day downtrend. Okay, so SPY is doing much of nothing. Let's look at the internals for a minute. Okay, tick cumulative continues to move lower. So I'd expect SPY to build another small flag here and then drop. So we're looking for that 227.75 breakout zone. Okay, so we're pushing a bit more now. The 9 and 20 are turning along with the 50 period SMA on this 15-minute chart. SPY is hanging out at the lows. Let's see if we can't get some buying volume like we did previously right in here. MACD's pushing through the 0 line now, and STO is near overbought. RSI still has some room to run on this time frame. We'll look out to the 30-minute as well. See what potential we have there. So the 30-minute is starting to level off at 50. We got a buy signal overhead at $10.19 on this time frame. MACD's crossing. We see that volume. Probably could get a better entry. Maybe this pulls back a little bit in the next few minutes, and you could start a position there. Look for a bounce and follow through. Let's keep an eye on Netflix as well. All right, so Netflix continues to push a little bit higher. Looks like it's going to break above this 141.39 level after perhaps a flag. Gets above this volume by price band. If traders are even interested on Friday, I'll move my stops up to flat in a few minutes, just because it is Friday and we don't generally trade, start new positions, except for a scalp here and there. So we're seeing another flag building on SPY, the 5-minute chart. And down volume is staying elevated at 1.64 to 1. Tick cumulative is still moving lower. And we are watching this flag right here. It's probably going to break fairly soon. Now, this is where you start to look for these tepid flags in terms of conviction. There's hardly any in this. You can see this downtrend. Okay, so let's watch that. SPY, this flag should break lower with tick cumulative pointing down. All right, so we're seeing some wicks on the 15-minute chart at the low right here on Netflix. Nugget, NUGT, pushing higher. Okay, watch this flag. Okay, so we made some progress. Pushing a bit higher. Got a couple of dojis. Now we're building a little white candle just under the 200 period moving average on the 5-minute. Volume by price starts to build a little higher, right around 10.15, and RSI is drifting higher. So this trend should continue. 9 and 20 EMA are bullish. Okay, this bear flag looks like it's going to push down. Okay. Yeah, you can see this today's pretty slow. All right, getting that small pullback that we're looking for to 140.60 or so. If we can get there, we'll look for this situation, a pullback, and then a bounce and continuation candle. That's what you want to see. Pullback to support or a moving average, then a bullish candle, and then a follow-through candle. Okay, so we're getting the flag right now. We could get this bullish candle now and a follow-through candle to break out above 140.99. So if that occurs, that would be a good signal as well to attack this 141.21 level. Okay, so let's talk about the watch list. For the most part, things did work this week. Seeing a little selling today. Here's Amazon. We had this little cup and handle, a breakout on Tuesday. You got a nice 20 points there. Live, that one reversed. Now it's moving higher again. Okay, so that's following through. Probably going to take that level out. RSI is moving higher. MACD cross. We're going to get back into LIVE. You see this buy signal overhead. If that triggers, that'll be a confirmation. 23.13. We held this level here. We've got 23, some resistance up above the 22.15 pivot, where prices pulled back to the 9 and 20 and bounced. Now we have that continuation candle I was just speaking about, and MACD crossing. So this is probably going to continue higher. Note the volume. It's 23,000 shares, so it's small, and something you may want to consider before taking a position. Okay, this flag is still hanging out below the 9 and the 20. They're still bearish, SOTMA, so we'll keep that on the radar. Okay, so here you go. Netflix is breaking higher on the flag, so there's your continuation candle. Same thing with Nugget breaking through. So now we're breaking through these levels. If we get up to around 1030, I'll move our stops to flat. All right, so you should be positive on Nugget, unless you took it at the open, as always did. Okay, so he'll be up 50 cents here as we push higher to 1030. Okay, watch this flag. It's not breaking down. If we get above the 9 and the 20, we could be attacking VWAP. All right, so we have $10.11 on our fill earlier when we started talking about Nugget holding this little flag. We pushed higher on this time frame. Get a bit higher. I'm going to bring this stop up to flat. Okay, sounds like the wife is back. So let's continue to look at some of the watch list stocks. We talked about Amazon and Live. Ozark is trading post earnings. I'll be right back. Ozark is continuing to flag out at these levels. Seeing a few buyers here at the lows. You see the wick on the past 2 days and this wick on Wednesday at 55 up to 55.50. There's some buyers in that zone. MACD cross continues to look good. Nice volume. Okay, NUGT continues to push now. So we get to 10:30. I will move our stops up to 10:12, just above our entry. Maybe 10:15. Okay, we could pull back to the rising 9 EMA, presently at $10.11. Stowe is overbought. RSI is overbought. Okay, watch SPY continues to push. Okay, those ATW calls that we took, sold to cover calls, those are up 40 cents. So we're probably going to take those off. We'll wait a little while, and see how this plays out. And look for a bounce. Okay, let's look at Netflix. Continuing to push off of this flag and breakout. 141.21. We're attacking now. So those shares are up 25 cents. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, so Nugget should flag out and continue higher. We have this gap to deal with. Okay, so BPFH was another stock on the watch list. That one pulled back to the 20 EMA, 1650. Seeing a little bit of buying right in this zone. See this wick on this candle on Tuesday and Monday. Same levels. Let's see. This could bounce. It should. Otherwise, we'll stop around 16. If not sooner. We got a sell signal just below at 1608. So if that should trigger, we would probably take those shares off. Okay, EXP pulling back after a nice run from Monday's watch list. It reported this week on 124. VSNT, almost an outside day. RSI is turning down at the upper Bollinger Bands. Looking for that to pull back a little bit to the rising 9 and 20 EMA, maybe a pullback to breakout of this triangle pattern. Okay, Netflix is flagging again. Look for this rising 9 EMA to hold price if it does pull back that far. Right at the top of this flag. This should continue and push. Okay, NUGT doing what we thought. It's flagging out. Should push higher now. Seeing a little bit of selling in that candle. Just below 141.16. Looks like it's going to pull back to the 9 EMA. Okay, so tick cumulative is starting to flatten. We're at 1.71, 1.7 to 1 up down volume. Bears leading. RSI is below 50. Trying to turn. Could be seeing another inverted head and shoulders here. If this low holds, same look. Low, lower low, drift sideways on the 9 and 20 and build a right shoulder. If that should happen, then we would have a potential move to the upside to test this the 229.40 zone again, the blocks. So right now we're looking for a right shoulder. Watching this rejection, hopefully this moves sideways and doesn't drop back down and make a new low. So if it doesn't make a new low, we have a potential inverted head and shoulders. Okay, let me just put this on stock charts, stock twits for the twits. Let me pull up a new window. Where do we? Okay, let's go here. Okay, watching this shoulder, it's very brief. Okay, watch this. Right at VWAP, good area for this to build a right shoulder and then move higher. Okay, let's watch this. Tick cumulative is crossing. If this continues, watch for consolidation right under VWAP. That would be a good sign. Watch the Netflix pull back very sharply. Somebody took some profits. Nugget is continuing to push higher. We'll keep an eye on that one. All right, if you're just joining us, because I'm Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com. I was broadcasting earlier this week on ticker.tv. I think the ticker.tv server went down earlier, so we're transmitting on YouTube Live presently. Okay, so let's watch for potential right shoulder right in this zone. These bear flags stop breaking down, so we have a higher low building on this 5-minute chart. The nugget trade that we've been in continues to push higher. A few of you have been in since the open. Moved above the 9 and 20 EMA. Nice little rounding pattern. RSI is now near overbought. Watching SPY, looking for a right shoulder. Tick cumulative turned back down now. And we have 1.69 to 1 down volume. So down volume continues to rule the day right now as we try to build this right shoulder right under VWAP and above the 20 EMA on the 5-minute. We have triggered a buy signal on both charts. This one is set to SAR 0.03. This one's set to SAR 0.02. That's the default. So look for tick cumulative to turn. That will show institutions are no longer selling at the bid and that they'll start buying at the ask if this turns back up. So let's watch this. If we do make a new lower low, then this pattern is negated and we go to the next pattern and wait. What we're looking for right now is this right shoulder to play out, break out to the upside, hold the 20 EMA, continue to hold this buy signal, and price action produce a continuation green candle in the process. Netflix holding at the 20 EMA on the 5-minute, and NUGT flagging just above its 9-period EMA on this 5-minute chart. Okay, this is the very same pattern that we've seen a few times over the last few days. We have this descending pattern. Yesterday it was right here, left shoulder, right shoulder, a higher low, and then back into this pattern. So we've dropped, we put in a low, a new low, and then a higher low. Still inside of this pattern. So we're not out of the woods yet. Just means that we could possibly be consolidating the recent move from the Monday trade, where we had an inverted head and shoulders at the low, which was what we prefer. As we see here, 11 o'clock, we built this left shoulder. Into the noon hour, we built this low or head. Then at the 1 o'clock hour after lunch, we built a right shoulder, moved above the 9 and the 20 EMA, then tried to push above VWAP, got rejected, and then this continuation pattern played out from Tuesday on. Then we hit a high on Thursday and started descending and consolidating the recent gains. So right now we're watching to see if we make a new low or if we hold this present low just about 228.80. So if this does reverse, we have to run back up. We do have blocks overhead at 229.40 to be concerned about as overhead resistance. Below we have 227.70 and I believe 227.70 as block zones support. And the blocks are typically 500,000 shares or greater, trading on SPY. So here are those block zones that the team in the block trades channel in the trading room updates on a daily basis, intraday as well as after hours. A lot of these come in after hours and right at the close, and those are the ones to concern yourself with. If you have 500,000 share blocks coming in or greater, some 2-3 million shares have traded over the last week. A lot of those are down at 227.60, so we broke above that level. You can view this as support now, and overhead we see a line in the sand overhead at 229.40 and then 229.60. So if those two levels are taken out, then we can see fresh all-time highs. For now, that's resistance, as you can see right in here at 229.40, 229.45 or so, and a little bit higher. So that's what we're watching right now in the trading room. Having taken a long on NUDT on this reversal, after talking about lows on in the morning blog post, we're also watching Netflix trying to turn and continue that turn higher on the daily chart. Had a flag at the highs and looking for that to push to the upside. Not seeing a lot of conviction. As you can see in SPY, it's taking a while to build this right shoulder. Not expecting much because it is Friday after all. So take it with a grain of salt. Still building right underneath VWAP, so that could be a break in the very short term. So let's watch this together. I'll have a sip of coffee and I'll sit back for a few minutes. Since YouTube doesn't allow streaming music in the background, at least music that is copyright protected, we can't stream music on YouTube Live. Meanwhile, NUGT pulling back a little bit, could trigger a sell signal here on the 5-minute. So we're up a little bit from our entry. Always got in right around 980 at the open. So he's doing well on that trade. Let's take a look at gold after we look at SPY. Internals still show sentiment is bearish. And we're at 1.80 to 1, nearing the high of the session. As we can see, NYUD is below the zero line and bearish. We're trying to trigger a signal here on STO 144. RSI is drifting underneath the 50 zone. So building the right shoulder. Let's see how this plays out in the next few minutes. Lunchtime is right around the corner, so not expecting a whole lot. Watch tick cumulative. If they're finished selling, this will turn and cross over to the upside like it did here when we had this ramp higher from 1 o'clock when we saw this inverted head and shoulders here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, prices move above the 9 and 20, and then we move higher for a 25-30 cent scalp. Then we have this move lower. Now we're seeing the same thing on this 5-minute chart in both screens. Liberty Global, I see Gino looking at. Let's look at that. BTYA. Okay, so we're breaking higher on LBTYA. So Liberty Global is going. Some of the other names in this space: Comcast, among others. We can look at a stock list. I'm going to clear my throat. Excuse me 1 second. A little bit congested. So let's take a look at the media stocks that we have in a watch list. Broadcasting and entertainment media. Charter Communications continues to push higher. I believe this is a Warren Buffett position. So that's moving higher. Comcast we just talked about. Dish Networks at the lows underneath the 200, not interested there. The Dow Jones U.S. Broadcasting and Entertainment Index continues on this bullish trend since the November elections. Intercom, not interested. Grupo Televisa, flagging out. Nice change of trend. Had a nice base build down here. Volume by price band. Now it's moving into the Kirby. So if you're trading south of the border, TV, Grupo Televisa, this one looks bullish. Look for a little flag and then a push higher. NUGT moving lower. Keep an eye on that one. Liberty Global, we just mentioned. Liberty Media. MCHX, Marchex, media agencies, building a nice flat base down here. Could move higher off of that base. This is a very inexpensive stock. Only trading 13,000 shares, so keep that in mind. Time Warner, double top, but the 9 EMA is pushing prices higher. That could continue. Okay, this right shoulder is still building on SPY. Viacom continues to push higher. And Walt Disney, nice pattern on Walt Disney. We were watching this flag into the 20 period SMA. Both of these occasions now it's pushing higher. So Walt Disney looks like a good long here. Would have been better at 108, but it's only up 80 cents from this pullback level. So if you can take that 80 cents and a stop below the 20 SMA, you got a good long there. So you got about $1 stop on a $100 stock. That's not that much. Maybe you want to put it down here at 106. But it looks like Disney's going to break out. Keep an eye on Disney. And we'll see what... I guess Netflix is considered a media stock too, right? So I'm going to put that in here. I have this in a couple of different groups. Okay, still building the right shoulder on SPY. We'll keep an eye on this with our right eye, and with our left eye we'll monitor the charts here. NUGT, little hammer building, hanging man at the 20 EMA on this 5-minute chart, trying to shake out weak hands. Yeah, I like Disney as well, Joe. Okay, Google, let's take a look at that one. Haven't looked at it since the open. Okay, Google came right down to the, this is showing the 10 EMA. I really want to use a default chart on this one. Gives you the same look. It's just a short-term moving average. Came right down to the 9-period EMA. Got a 20 period below. That's 20 handles, 20 points lower. This looks like it's going to continue. Watch for some consolidation and a flag or consolidation pattern above these highs. So it could still test this level before breaking higher. Some decent selling volume at highs. No doubt taking profits from this recent run off the 200 period moving average. SPY still hasn't done anything stupid in this right shoulder. Look for that to break higher. All right, let's keep an eye on Disney, see how that plays out. All right, Disney's looking good. It's going to trigger a buy signal here. You know what? I'm going to take a few shares on Disney. Okay, so that's 3 entries today. 2 of them are scalps. This will actually be a scalp until we break higher on Disney. So I bought 100 shares at the market. So we got to fill at 108.85. Okay, so right shoulder still building on SPY. If this turns higher, we should see a nice breakout, and that will help the stocks, equities in general. Okay, so NUGT is starting to reverse a bit. We're off 6 cents presently. So let's see what else you guys are talking about in the room. Media stocks definitely look good. J&J, let's take a look at J&J. Also want to look at XLV. In that group, that's a mistake. Okay, so XLV is picking up a little bit. So you would think that J&J and some of those other stocks that were beaten down would look better. Okay, J&J is trying to reverse. Still got the 9 and the 20 plus the 200 period overhead to get above. Stow is turning up. RSI is in an area that we like to see. With a higher low, it has more potential for continuation. Okay, let's watch SPY. I have a bunch of wicks here. You see these? We gotta hold these wick lows in this right shoulder if this is going to hold up as a potential right shoulder. Stow is beginning to turn or flatten, and money flow is at 60. All right, so I see Crimson's looking at FCX. Freeport McMoran. Yeah, I was looking at copper before. The end of day chart. We're at this multiple top. Okay, watch this low right here. If this takes out this low, that negates this pattern on SPY. Stow is turning back down. Let's look at internals. Those are probably picking up. So tick cumulative continues to push lower, and now we're closing in on the high of the session, 1.8721. RSI is turning down as well. Okay, this is looking more bearish than bullish. Hopefully it holds this right shoulder, and these wicks hold as potential buy area. Let's look at block trades and see what's come in this morning. And we see 229.28. That's printing since this morning. So 229.28. We've got 1, 2, 3 at 500,000 shares each. We got a million share block at 229.28, 228.83, 229.51, 229.83. So we got 229.28 overhead. We've got 2,500,000 shares at 229.28. So that's up here. 229.28 are blocks overhead. And that would be right at that upper trend line. So that came in at 11.26 and 11.41. Okay, so not too long ago. So those had to be late prints being there above price action. Watch this right shoulder. Still holding out. Tick is trying to flatten one more time. NUGT is trying to build a higher low. Let's look at Netflix. Okay, Netflix recovering off of this little drop, a little shakeout, and price action's moving back to the upside. Let's check out Disney. That's new. Disney was a new entry a few minutes ago. That continues to break higher. Congratulations. Got a nice scalp so far. 15-20 cents. Okay, so this right shoulder continues to build underneath this VWAP. So showing a lot of potential, the fact that it hasn't broken down already and dropped down to this lower trend line of this pattern. So Disney's going. Nice scalp if you entered this morning with us. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you live from theclosingprint.com via YouTube Live. If you're interested in learning how to trade like a pro, not a plo. If you're interested in trading like a pro, check out the blog. Click on that link. That'll take you to the blog where we have a sign up button. You can check that out. Let's watch Disney as this continues to push higher. Obviously, traders are in this looking for a move higher. So click on the sign up button and you can find out more about becoming a member on the site and learning how to trade on a strategy-based approach to the markets, which has net us some nice profits so far in Disney this morning, Netflix, and NUGT, among others. And we should see SPY hold this shoulder. If it doesn't, if it breaks down, obviously we got one scenario, that's the lower trend line we'll be looking at. If it doesn't, if it holds this level and all these wicks, we should see a reversal and a move to the upside. Okay, I haven't looked at LNG since we sold it on that breakout. Now we're starting to flag out. We had two really nice days. We sold on this candle, pushed a bit higher. Now we're flagging out. So put LNG on your radar. We'd like to sell some covered calls and capture some of this volatility as it squashes a bit. So keep an eye on LNG. All right, so SPY is trying to make up its mind if it wants to take these wicks out or not. The longer it holds here, the more I'm thinking this is going to break higher, but you never know. Moving averages are flat. VWAP is flat. It's Friday. You got money flow. Looks like it wants to turn up. STO looks like it wants to turn up. So we're just hanging out here waiting for a decision and price action to tell us which direction to trade. Netflix looking good. Okay, so we're starting to lose these wicks. Watch market internals. Tick cumulative continues to drop, so we're at 1.92 to 1. Down volume is dissipating. Down volume is increasing. So this is probably going to drop through this zone now. So it'll negate this pattern. We'll get a trigger on this sell signal, and SPY continues to drift off, or at least that's what it's showing right now. So now we got the next low. Okay, we take out these lows, it'll negate this pattern. And we have potential down to this lower trend line. Okay, we're shy of this high, so we may take this. We're probably going to take Netflix off here. Hold on one second. Okay, so we're out of Netflix. I'm just watching RSI rolling over. Lower high. This will probably play out in the near term, but if we break out above this 141.21 level, we'll take another look at this. So that was a scalp this morning. Disney continues to push higher. Got a little flag now. So a nice little run on the 5-minute. Looking good. So we're triggering a buy signal on Disney today. Over the last hour, we were looking at this as a trade, got into the position, and looking for a continuation. So that looks like it's going to continue. RSI is turning higher. We got nice volume. MACD is turning. It's above zero. Note the shorter histogram bars. So that will probably continue. We've got a buy signal and should test this 109.49 level. If not today, then next week. As we flag out at the daily highs. Okay, well, so much for the flag. It just continued, just bursting higher. Still little shimmy there on this little candle. Now we're bursting higher. Looks like that right shoulder is going to hold after all. And let's see how we handle VWAP here. Okay, so that's our low. Right shoulder. Was a flag there that broke down. I'm just going to reconfigure this so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so there's your inverted head and shoulders. It held. It did not put in a new low. And now what we want to see is tick cumulative turning. So let's go to our 5-minute chart. Okay, tick cumulative is turning sharply to the upside. So that's going to work. Okay. Okay. Could still get rejected here. So just keep in mind, this has to break above VWAP. We do have blocks that came in at 229.28, just overhead. So you only have about 20 cents before we encounter some resistance, if that is in fact resistance. If we get a buy program right now at the 12 o'clock hour, on the half hour, we typically see some buy programs come in. 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock. So look for that to happen. We got tick cumulative crossing. And looking to complete this pattern now. Okay. What is Disney doing now, you might ask? Okay, Disney is just breaking. Let me make sure I have this. Okay, so now we're starting to flag at the 109 level. Thank you, Mr. Disney. GT consolidating along these levels right in here. And this volume by price band, if this breaks down below that, we'll take the stop and move on to the next trade. Let's look at gold futures. I like looking at Forex because I can look at them all at the same time. Okay, watch SPY. Got a neckline right along this level at 229.10. Okay, so the dollar is at 162. Gold is off $3.30, starting to move higher, so watch Nugget. We got Forex, we got the Euro, US dollar slightly higher, and we have yields off just a bit this morning. It's noon actually, so this afternoon. NASDAQ futures are a bit higher. As a result, technology stocks are doing better than the spiders, but that could change by the closing bell. All right, so I'll get rid of this. Copper leveling off, so FCX, as we started to say earlier, Freeport McMoran, that's probably going to move higher. You could take a position in Freeport. I've already taken a couple of scalps, so I'm not going to take anything here, but Freeport looks really good. Disney is from 45 minutes ago or so. Netflix and NUGT. All right, so here we go with SPY moving higher now. Follow through is what we were looking for. So you got some pivot levels overhead along these lines right in here. Okay, you see these pivots right here. So we're going to come up to that level right now. We're pushing through these pivot lows. We got the 229.28 blocks that traded this morning. And now we're starting to push higher. So money flow is following stochastic, which is all following price action. Okay, so we're above those levels, above VWAP. Don't be surprised if it comes back to VWAP. We'll see how that plays out. But we had a tick cumulative cross right here. So that's showing institutions stop selling at the ask and start buying at the, stop selling at the bid and have started buying at the ask on the uptick. So price action reversed on this inverted head and shoulders. And now we just have to keep an eye on it. Okay, Disney still trading at the highs of the session. RSI is turning up on the daily. Could get a breakout. Had a nice descending little wedge pattern, pennant or flag into the 20 EMA. Price is reversed. Flagged for a couple of days, or moved sideways for a couple of days above the 9 EMA, and now we're breaking out and triggering a buy signal. Okay, so Disney looks really good, especially considering the media stocks have been doing well. We were looking for Paycom to retreat we took that last Friday on a swing. And pulled back some more. So here's Friday. Price action moved higher. On Monday, Tuesday, we sold, reversed on Wednesday, and came back to the 9 and 20, which is what we were looking for. Now it's sitting right on top of the 20 SMA, building higher lows. So this should reverse, but what we want to see first is maybe a hammer here would be great, or a hanging man. And then to confirm our consideration as a long, we want to see a bullish continuation day. Similar to what we see here. Red candle, reverses, buyers step in, and then continuation day back above the 9 EMA. That is what gets us in. And then a close above the highs of these three candles. Then you have that potential for a reversal back to the upside. The trend is up. 9 and 20 EMA are holding prices, so let's watch Paycom. Maybe it sets up in the near future. Let's look at CPE. Okay, so we have a bit of a spinning top, a doji pattern above the 9 and 20 EMA. We took a long on this one yesterday. We're still green on it for the time being. We have stops under yesterday's low. And then you have a sell signal just below that, right around 15, as you can see. Looks like it's trying to change trend along with XLE and some stocks in that group. So for sector catalysts, you want it to win that you're in your sales. XLE is dropping back below. So that's a change in character. Okay, NUGT is trying to bounce. XLE is back below the 9 and the 20 EMA. So that's not something I want to see if I'm going to stay long CPE. So we need to see some bullish volume here, or we take CPE off while it's still green. Okay, look for a bounce off of VWAP. It did exactly what we thought it would do. Come back to VWAP now. Looks like it wants to push. Let's see what market internals are saying. We're still a little bit elevated on the buy volume, or the selling volume. Tick cumulative's turning back down again. That could wiggle and turn back to the upside. MACD momentum showing upside potential as SPY flags above or moves above VWAP. This is still concerning. Bears still control the day so far, even though we are drifting higher. So institutions could be buying on the dip, as we can see in tick cumulative, letting their intentions be known. At least it appears to be at the present time. Okay, so we got a spinning top in between the 9 and the 20 EMA on the daily. And on the 15-minute, well, let's take a look at gold. Gold looks pretty similar. So we had some potential further downside. We're putting in a lower high just for the record. So if this doesn't bounce, we'll take that trade off minus a few cents. Otherwise, we need to see a bounce right here, right now, right along this volume by price band. Stowe is oversold. RSI is right at 50. That should turn back up. We'll keep an eye on it. Not looking for much afternoon. So we're in the noon hour. The low looks like it's in for the day. That's left to be seen. All right, so Disney continues to flag out just below 109. Netflix potential there to continue higher. All right, so RSI is moving back up on the 15-minute, 5-minute. We may get back into Netflix. You know, second thought, I'll wait on Netflix. Probably will continue higher, but I took it off here when RSI started to move lower, so we're flat on Netflix. No loss there. A couple of pennies gain. But I really like Disney, how that's looking. Flagging out here as well. NUGT is pushing a bit lower. SPY is completing this inverted head and shoulders above VWAP. Just need one more push above that 229.28 zone to clear some of those blocks overhead. Tick Cumulative is trying to echo that thought. Let's look at some of the miners. ABX continues to flag out right at the 200 period moving average. I'm jumping around here, but I'm looking at EEM. That's pulling back just a bit. Credit Suisse. That pulled back. Let's look at some of the banks. Holding at highs. Morgan Stanley's looked the best for the most part. Considering GS had pulled back a lot more, it's back above the 9 and the 20. Looks like some profit taking on that recent run on Goldman. All right, so Athena Healthcare, this is one that HCPG had pointed out to the stream when it was looking at the weekly chart. Oh, shoot, over a month ago, I guess. Breaking above these levels. And he's up nicely on that one. On the weekly chart. Let's take a look at the weekly. Was it Athena? It was Athena, I thought. Anyway, if this gets above the 200 period, that would look very good. No, it was ANTM. ANTM. I was just checking my stream. So this was, there you go. That's a nice looking stock. Okay. On the weekly chart, HCPG, I guess it was about a month ago, because it was looking at this level that price action was consolidating against, and now it's breaking out. So 168.69 looks to be in the cards. Obviously, you don't want to chase it now because RSI is overbought. Let's hold this and save it in current trades. And let's look at the daily as well, because the daily looked really nice. That broke higher above this consolidation zone. Very nice trade. So nice 6 points, 7 points on that breakout for HCPG. ANTM. I'm just going to give HCPG a shout out. ANTM. All right, so ANTM continues to break higher. Beautiful stock. Beautiful volume. You can see institutions are definitely in this just by virtue of the volume that's picked up above average over the last many weeks. So if you're not following him, you should. He uses a number of techniques that John Carter uses along with Scott Redler that I admire and have been utilizing myself, that enables you to trade with a strategy and rules-based approach to the markets rather than your opinion. So shout out to HCPG on ANTM. Okay, so we're hanging out here at VWAP. Not a lot of conviction by the bulls. Looks like institutions tried to get this to turn the corner, but we're still at 1.93 to 1. Down volume is leading. Could drop back down below VWAP if nobody comes in and buys. It's Friday, so it's no surprise. RSI is above 50, trying to bounce and turn higher. And we have we have Stowe 144 gave a signal to push us above, the signal to push above VWAP, but it's since dissipated and started to move sideways. More importantly, we're watching tick cumulative. That'll show you what institutions are actually doing. Okay, NUGT is putting in a higher low now. Draw a trend line through these levels. And we held above that. Look for MACD to cross and turn back up, and Stowe and RSI to follow price as a function of same. Disney. This is a new position today. And it ran up very quickly, flagging out, trying to hold these highs. The daily looks much better. And we'll probably swing this one just by virtue of the way Liberty Global looks, as Disney just triggered a buy signal after a 5-day run off of this hammer on the 20-period EMA. So you can see some of these media stocks, entertainment, broke out of patterns and moving higher. We're expecting Disney to do something similar, along with Netflix, which is showing some potential to break above this 7 or 8 day consolidation pattern. Okay, so vol spread MYUD and other indicators are pretty much flat. As you can see in the room, CH just posted market internals with the ARMS index a little bit elevated at 1.20. I don't get alarmed until it gets up into the 1.50 range. Advanced decline is fairly flat. And we have vol spread just moving sideways most of the day. Tick not giving a whole lot of signal. But we're watching this inverted head and shoulders, and we're looking for a continuation pattern to the upside that would confirm our bullish bias over the last couple hours. As we put in the head right around 11 a.m., money flow was around the 50 zone and stochastic was turning higher. Okay, I'm going to stop the stream for a second. I'm over 2 hours on this particular video. So I'm going to cut this one loose and I'll restart. Give me a couple of minutes. And I'll be right back. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you live from theclosingprint.com via YouTube Live. I will be back in about 30 seconds. Okay, we are back. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you live from theclosingprint.com via Google YouTube Live with a Friday session. Most of the action's taking place since 11 a.m. We had a little bit of a move lower off of the highs. We thought we would see a fade at the open, so we alerted the subscribers to that potential. That's what we saw. Then we put in a lower low in this descending pattern since Thursday. Then we saw this right shoulder or higher low starting to build, and we thought the potential for a move up and above VWAP was relevant and something we should watch. So that's what's happened to this point. We're building above VWAP, some consolidation, and starting to step higher. So let's keep an eye on that with stochastic overbought now and money flow starting to dissipate a little bit around 61.64. Vol spread is flat. Market internals are basically not giving us much to go by, with down volume higher than usual. It's at near 2.2 to 1 bearish, and we have tick cumulative trying to turn back up. So let's keep an eye on RSI above 50 and price above the 9 and 20 EMA. Just now printing one candle below. Let's see how this plays out. We could still drop down to that lower trend line as this isn't following through. We have 229.28 overhead as blocks that traded about 2.5 million shares in 4 blocks around 11:30, I believe. So that's potential resistance overhead right at this level right here. Okay, we got a little wick, 2 wicks in a row, just below VWAP, pushing back above. Let's see how that plays out. All right, tick cumulative is trying to turn down. That could still bounce and move higher, so we'll keep an eye on that. ENTM continues to push. Let's take a look at Apple. Okay, consolidating at 122. Disney, that's a new position on this buy signal a little bit earlier. NUGT, need to put in a higher high. We're holding this low. These pivot lows right here at 863, so we have a higher low for now. I see a couple of people mentioning gold on the stream. Okay, this looks like it's rolling over a little bit. RSI is flat under 50. It's going to get really slow now. S&P's off $4 now, 4 handles. Gold's off $2.45. That was off $8.50 when I first looked at it this morning. Crude is off a little bit. And the dollar is hovering right around 100. Okay, this right shoulder is still playing out. This move above the right shoulder, I should say, and VWAP. So hold VWAP and we should be good. Okay, we got another push coming on NUGT. If we're lucky. STO is turning, RSI is turning back up. Keep an eye on that. Okay, so we haven't looked at CHK in a while. That pulled back. Energy in general was pulling back. So a little bit more red. I'm going to take the CPE trade off if this continues. RSI at 50 turning down. Watch SPY here back under VWAP. There's a sell signal if this triggers right below. What I don't like about energy is the move back down below the 9 and 20 EMA, which are both descending, and we're at the lows of the day. So I'm going to take CPE off. Hold on. Okay, I took CPE off. I had 300 shares. Still green, but I don't like what XLE is doing. If this remains above the 9 and the 20 on the daily chart, then I may get back into it. But for now, CPE, I took it off slightly green. Okay, so there you go. So we're out of CPE. We made 10 cents. We were up with a nice margin this morning. But I don't like what XLE is doing. So for the time being, we'll stay out of it. If this manages to stay above the 9 and 20 EMA and XLE gaps up on, say, Monday, we'll take another look at this. But for now, I don't like the way XLE looks. And neither should you. We're down below the 9 and the 20 EMA. Yesterday we were above and reversed. We got a sell signal just below at around 73.45. As a confirmation, that'll drop through that if we continue to see weakness in oil and exploration stocks, generally speaking. Okay, a scratch is good. As long as you don't go green to red. Okay, so we're still on a buy signal on Disney and some of those media stocks. Watch VWAP right here on SPY. All right, sorry about that. All right, so Disney's pulling back a little bit more. We're looking to swing that one. NUDT meeting some resistance here. Stowe is turning down. RSI is turning down. You know what? We're going to take this off too. Markets all of a sudden starting to look like gold is going to put in a lower high on this time frame. If it were to break above this and trigger a long signal, get above 1026, we'd take another look at it. But for now, we're just going to take it off. We are down 6 cents. And hence the reason why I don't usually trade on Fridays. So I had a scratch trade on Netflix, made a couple of pennies on that one. CPE was a swing from yesterday. We sold that, plus 10 cents. Did I say Netflix? I took Netflix, made a couple of pennies on that one. Didn't like what it was doing at the time. But I do like it longer term for a potential breakout above 141.16. That could still happen today. But I'm looking at RSI just flat. MACD's drifting lower. Stowe's overbought. Could turn back down. Got SPY triggering a sell signal because it's not making progress. Could come back down to this lower trend line now. We have 229.28 overhead. Blocks as resistance. And right now I'm going to take some lunch. So I'll be back in about an hour. Perhaps a little bit longer. Maybe take a little bit longer. Take my wife out to lunch or something. Okay? Take care. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you live from theclosingprint.com via YouTube Live. We'll be back in the afternoon and see how the markets play out for a run into end of day. I'm not expecting much, as we posted this morning on the blog. Looking for a fade to a slightly lower. We have 227.75 below on the daily charts as a possible inflection point if we do pull back. So that's something that we're watching as well. We have red bricks building on Renko, so that's telling us eliminate the noise. We're in a downtrend until we start to see white bricks. We can assume that the trend is going to be back down to this 228 level and perhaps 227.75. Pull back to breakout and then a push higher to these rising 9 and 20 EMA. That could all change. For now, price is not doing anything. There's no conviction in the market, so I'm going to take lunch now and leave you with that thought. Take care, and we'll talk to you in a little while.